In some passages of the Bible, spiritual beings show fear at the possibility of being cast into the abyss. That is strange, because there is fear, yet no explanation of the abyss itself. In other moments, the abyss is opened, then closed, and someone appears holding the key. The action is clear. The definition is not. The Bible uses the term shows its effects and moves on without explaining what it is. This raises a simple question. Why is something never described treated as so real and so feared? When the abyss appears for the first time in the Bible, the text does not present it as something new. There is no introduction, no explanation, no attempt to clarify the term. The word enters the narrative and the text moves on normally, as if the reader already knows what it refers to. This stands out because it is not the biblical pattern. When something is important for understanding the story, Scripture usually explains it. Here, it does not. The abyss enters the text without context and remains without definition. In other passages, the text does not explain the abyss, but records the reaction to it. There is fear associated with the possibility of being cast there. The fear appears within the narrative without any description of the place and without an explanation of its cause. The text does not build images or detail consequences. It simply records the reaction as if the weight of the term itself were sufficient. The reader understands that something serious is involved, even without knowing exactly what it is. In other scenes, the text adds a practical detail. The abyss can be opened and then closed. This does not happen by chance, but through direct action. In one of these moments, the image of a key appears, indicating control and limitation. The text does not explain how this mechanism works. It simply shows that it exists. The reader understands that containment and authority are involved, even without knowing exactly what is being contained. Over time, it becomes clear that the abyss is not out of control. The text shows that authority is involved. Someone decides when it is opened and when it is closed. Access is limited, not permanent. This authority is not presented in detail, but its action is enough to make one thing evident. The abyss operates within an order. It does not act on its own, nor in a chaotic way. This silence stands out because it is not common. In many other passages, the Bible explains places, develops concepts, and clarifies difficult points. The text knows how to explain when it chooses to. With the abyss, this does not happen. Even though it is used at important moments, the term is never defined. The contrast between what is explained and what is omitted makes this silence difficult to ignore. The abyss does not appear only once. It returns in different contexts, always with the same textual behavior. The action is shown, the authority is clear, but the explanation never comes. When a silence repeats itself, it ceases to be accidental. The reader begins to perceive that there is a boundary the text chooses not to cross. In the end, the Bible allows the reader to understand quite a lot. The abyss is treated as real. It is under control. It provokes reaction. It reappears at decisive points in the narrative. What is never offered is a clear definition. Perhaps the point is not to discover what the abyss is, but to recognize that the text never considered it necessary to explain. And when Scripture chooses to keep something in silence, that silence becomes part of the message.